Hey folks, Fernando doing another video for the More Survivalists, and I'd like to do a little bit of a update on the situation regarding coronavirus and how things are continuing from now on. Now, the United States just surpassed 1 million confirmed cases of coronavirus. That's confirmed cases. We don't know for sure how many infected people are. We don't know for sure how many dead people are. And this isn't just for the United States, this is everywhere. Everywhere in the world there's reports of the number of dead just not matching what we know from our sources. For example, in Spain, socialist government, as socialist as governments could possibly get, so they're on that political wing, the number of dead do not match the number of dead they're getting from funeral homes. The guys actually burying the dead are saying, hey, these numbers don't match. We have a lot more dead people than you are actually saying we have. What's going on? The number that Spain is reporting to international organizations does not match the number that they're reporting within the country. So they're saying to their own people, they're saying that there's less dead than they're saying internationally. And even that number does not match the number of dead that people in funeral homes, the organization that manages the different, the union, the funeral home union, right? That they all kind of interact and talk one another. The number of dead those guys are looking does not match even close the number of dead that's being reported. And when confronted, when journalists ask what's going on, they just say, yeah, we don't really know how many dead people we have. So it could be twice as much. In UK, they already say, I was just reading today, in UK they're saying, yes, it could easily be double the official number of dead. Right, the real number of dead people, of dead, could be double the official one. And the same goes on in Germany, the same goes on in Italy, the same goes on, of course, across South America. The number of people that are dying, the number of people that have died already is not even close to the official number. So for all those folks that think, oh, they're exaggerating, they're counting people that had car accidents and they're throwing in there with coronavirus, they have no freaking clue what they're talking about. The number of people that are dying because of this is way over the official numbers, and it's admitted, it's being admitted by pretty much every single country confronted it from any kind of political wing, left, right, central, whatever it is, they're all saying the same. They just don't know for sure how many dead people they have. So it is one of those times in which, guys, what we're seeing now is maybe one of the more serious crises we've seen in a number of years. The situation is not just about the virus. The virus is bad enough as it is. And you know what? It really doesn't matter. There's people out there that think this is just the flu, bro. They still stick to that. That's okay. Good for them. Happily in their ignorance. That's just fine. There's people that are just saying you shouldn't be wearing gas masks or respirators or any of those things because the government is telling me to, so I'm not going to be doing it. It's stupid. It doesn't make any sense. If the government wouldn't tell you, you wouldn't be wearing protection equipment for a deadly virus that is obviously in the population. So you're refusing to protect yourself because someone said in the government to use it. Now, curiously enough, you choose to look at that, but you don't look at when the government was telling you not to wear all that equipment. So, this is Darwin at work. A lot of people that have that attitude will end up catching the freaking virus and dying, and maybe the genetic pool of humanity will be better off because of it. So go with that. I think it's a great idea. Now, serious talk. We are looking at this not being over. It's going to be several more months. Who knows? Year and a half is usually what you're looking at, and you're looking at several waves. The economy needs to start working again. People have to show up to work and start producing again, because if not, the economy just simply doesn't work. Yet at the same time, as soon as you do that, guess what? The number of people infected will go up even further. So you'll be looking at a second wave, maybe a third wave, stretching all out to next winter. And that alone is a huge problem on its own, especially with a virus that we don't even understand fully what it's all about. We are seeing reports of people that are getting reinfected. We're seeing reports of people that are severely left with serious medical complications because of this. They have all kinds of organ failures. It's very new, and there's just not a clear picture or a clear idea of what we're looking at. Forget about a vaccine. We haven't got a working vaccine, anything real that works truthfully for even the common flu. You're not going to be finding a vaccine for this thing in just a few more months. Just not going to be working that way. But to that, you have to add the economic problem, the social problem. And regarding that, United Nations is saying that coronavirus crisis could double the number of people suffering acute hunger. So reports from UN World Food Program and another warns 265 million people are facing acute risk. And this is all over the world. So how this ends up working is the following way. Poor nations, poor countries, some places in Asia, Africa, South America, those places are usually hit worse. Those are the places where we're already kind of in the brink in some countries, and this just throws them over a cliff. So you're going to be seeing people starving and being hungry for real in many of these places. At the same time, you're going to be seeing a lot of poor people and even a lot of hungry people in many developed nations. Countries where they already had some poor people are going to be seeing even more of those. You're going to be seeing a drop in quality of life and standards of living across the board. That's just a fact. This isn't just speculations of maybe what. No, this is just how it's going to be. And you better prepare for all of this, right? Guys, this is a moment in which all the bullshit in preparedness, there's a ton of prepper channels, there's a ton of prepper personalities and, and such. There's a lot of bullshit as well. Not all of that works. In fact, very little of that works. And just how it is. There's a lot of things that look very cool. They have fantastic, pictures and camera work, and it just looks very entertaining. This is kind of like doomsday prepper. Something that looks good and is entertaining does not always mean it's actually useful. And to be completely honest, a lot of this stuff in the prepper community, a lot of stuff is just crap. And you see it right now. You see it when shit hits the fan for real, like it's happening right now. There's just a lot of preppers that just were not prepared for any of this. There's a pile of preppers that didn't even have a face mask or a respirator, let alone an actual gas mask. There's a lot of preppers that had these ideas of how things were supposed to be, and they're just now, panicking and just going into, like a childish denial as of what's going on because they just cannot cope with the reality. Right? These are the folks that are just a flu bro. They just cannot accept what's happening. It's better to just assume this is all a big hoax. It's kind of hard to believe how people react like that. But the human mind is incredible. These are the folks that will get hit by the train because this is happening. This isn't a if, this is just a matter of when, and that when being pretty soon. So on one hand, you're looking at that. You're looking at acute hunger across the world. Basically, it's about the economy, guys. The economy is in a horrible shape. The barrel of oil was like below zero. People are not going out, planes are not flying and using fuel, there's just no tourism, there's no activity, there's nothing. People are like staying home, and that to some degree eventually when you open up, it's going to be starting again, but how much are you going to be going out like you did before all of this? I'm certainly not. I'm going to be taking a lot more precautions. There's a ton of our people that are going to be doing the exact same thing. There's businesses that just died, as we all know. There's the unemployment numbers are scary in many places. There's just a lot of people are in a very bad position, and that is all throughout the world. And this is kind of like a chain reaction. When one guy doesn't have money, he's not going to be spending any of it, so he's not going to be making business for someone else, and that someone else is not going to be going out to restaurants. You're seeing, what was it, food production. Tyson Foods, who is it that just closed several plants right now? So these are things that we're seeing already in this stage of a pandemic. We're not even halfway through, and this is already what you're seeing. The consequences of all this will be quite significant. Then you have something that was being said by the International Monetary Fund, which is also very, very interesting. Pandemic could trigger social unrest in some countries. So yeah, you're looking at very pissed people in different parts of the world, and you're looking at potential social unrest. How bad can that get? It's going to be depending on, look at your country, depending on where you live. What is the history of social unrest that you have in those places, in your state, in your city? Is that something to look into? Yes, because that's an indication of what's likely to happen when tensions rise and there's more chances of seeing more of this civil unrest. So guys, it is not a neat, nice picture, not by a long shot, and you have to prepare. You have to prepare the way we've been use the channel. This channel is just packed full of actual good information. Just guys, the way it is, look at how look at the video I did talking with Daniel in Venezuela. Daniel is like a prepper in Venezuela, the kind of stuff that guy has seen. And I'm going to be doing another one regarding an interview I did recently with him where we talk about some good stuff. The guy in South Africa, Gideon, South Africa, the kind of things he's been seeing over there, that's real preparedness. That's what people end up going through and experiencing when things go wrong. These are the lessons that are actually useful, not a lot of the bullshit that has no connection with reality. I'm not going to be mentioning any names, but I've been seeing some stupid, mind-blowing, just folks that clearly do not know what they're talking about. And again, this is a point in which many of these preppers that just did not do this seriously or didn't bother. You know what? If I'm sounding a little bit pissed, maybe because of it, because there's a lot of people that never bothered doing actual research regarding real preparedness. I'm not the expert on any of this. Survival and preparedness is impossible to be an expert at because it covers all aspects of human life. Covers economy, covers self-defense, firearms, covers gardening, it covers health aspects, nutrition, social interaction. It covers absolutely every aspect of our life. So you cannot be an expert at everything, but you can do proper research. You can bother to look up before opening your mouth and repeating bullshit like you can do some actual real-world research and see how things go down in places where things went sideways. You can do that, and you can do this a lot more professionally than a lot of people have done. It takes a little bit more time, it's a little bit less fun, but it can be done. I've definitely been doing it that way. I'm not perfect by any means, but that's the way I've been doing it. So, guys, these are the times in which all of this makes a difference. It used to be that you could get away with being wrong. It's not going to be that way for a long time. You're going to be seeing a lot of people struggling economically. You're going to be seeing a lot of sick people as well. You're going to be seeing a lot of sick people. You're going to be seeing family members get sick and die. Yeah, it's happening already. I mean, you have to live under a rock to not see it. And yet, there's still people that think this is all a hoax. Again, I've mentioned it before, there's people that still think the earth is flat. So you cannot be all that surprised by folks not believing in any of this. So, but it is, one of the important aspects of preparedness is having a good connection with reality. Many preppers fail at that critical point. They live in a world of delusion and fantasy where they're going to be going out with their bug-out bag and living off the land and all this stuff, and they're going to be doing this and that, and everything's going to be going according to their little fantasy. And all of a sudden, when something like this happens, now there's no point in doing any of that, because if I cannot have my little bug-out bag and head to the hills, then there's no point in even bothering with a bug-out bag or any of that. Bugging out is a real thing. I actually wrote my second book is called Bugging Out and Relocating, because it is a real thing. It happens. It's not just about heading to the hills and living off the land when there's an economic crisis, because that's stupid and doesn't make any sense. Now, if your house burns down, yes, of course, you will have to bug out or die in your burning house. If there is an economic crisis, an economic collapse, you may definitely want to do that as well. I did it myself. I did what a lot of people say it's impossible to do. I did the famous pick up backpack, put it over your shoulder, go out the door and never come back. Never in your fucking life come back to that same place. I did that not only myself, I did it with a wife and 2 small kids. So it actually can be done. It's nothing special. There's millions of people that have done that in the last year. You know, that's the way life is when it sucks. When some people are forced with that, some people end up doing it. And some people don't end up doing it. And some people end up regretting that, like our friend Daniel, who is super open, and I appreciate his honesty about it when he says, my greatest mistake, not leaving this place when I could have done it. It takes, you have to be a very big, guy, so has to admit that sort of thing. So has to admit your shortcomings, your failures, the things that you believe you could have done better. Most people are not that, don't have that in them. They just cannot admit that. And a lot of people just don't even see that, don't see the possibility of doing that. Is the grass always greener on the other side of the hill? No, not always, but sometimes it is. Sometimes the grass on your side just sucks, and the grass on the other side is in fact greener. When your side is a pile of shit, there's a good chance that anywhere else it's likely better. So don't knock out that idea of, yeah, you may end up having to do that one day. We just don't know. I mean, we just didn't know that we would have a global pandemic, and we had. So this idea that no, you cannot do this, you cannot do that, that is just not realistic. It's definitely not what happens in the real world, where people make these decisions and they live with them. And it doesn't take to be, you don't have to be anything special. You kind of have to be kind of strong-willed, committed to some of these things, and actually take these steps, which are not always easy. But again, real preparedness. Guys, use the channel. This channel is packed full of information. Use the search function. I have some categories there for the different videos. And of course, I always recommend starting with my last book. This is the one I always keep recommending because I'm definitely sure this is the one that's likely to be most helpful for most people. Street Survival Skills, the Modern Survival Manual, and Bugging Out and Relocating. These are all available in Amazon there if you follow the link below. If you don't have these, get them. I'm not kidding. I'm actually having lots of people in my Spanish channel. They're asking me, hey, we cannot get your book because Amazon is not shipping to South America anymore. So you're in a privileged position of you can actually go online and buy a lot of stuff, including my books, of course. But lots of folks in places like Argentina, where I'm from, they're just telling me every single day, hey, man, I just want to buy your book, and Amazon is not shipping to South America anymore. And that's just the way it is. So guys, do what you can, use the resources that are available to you, and prepare, because things are not going to be getting any better anytime soon. We're looking at some pretty complicated times ahead of us. Guys, see you next time.